Hello.
I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching The Night Owl. So let me do a quick check, you guys, to make sure that you can hear us, because, I always get a little...
No one that's...
Yeah, a little paranoid when you can't hear any sound. So let's make sure. All right. Yep, we're all good.
You can hear us in October.
Yeah, so happy Tuesday. Is today Tuesday? Yeah. We don't normally do our live streaming any other day but Friday, but we've had quite an eventful, I guess, few weeks with, just personal things. So we're back. We're ready. Matthew is bursting at the seams to talk to you guys about some things.
It's fall, baby.
Yeah, and it's fall. And the last time we talked, I did upload an audio about the van life, which we did go over the Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie case. He is still at large right now. John Walsh from America's Most Wanted is looking for him. Apparently, Dog the Bounty Hunter's on the case.
Is on the case now.
I think he's trying to redeem himself.
Maybe here.
Yeah, he's got like actual concrete evidence. There's been sightings of him, of Brian Laundrie, in the Appalachian Mountains from other hikers. And Matthew had said he kind of has that look where he can just blend in with anybody, right? He doesn't have like a look like Dog the Bounty Hunter's out. But in any case, we talked about the van life, which we went over other influencers and TikTok people, social influencers that actually had done what they had done. And before Instagram and the internet was created, there's always been nomadic people, right? And we never really knew their stories unless it was like this heroic story, like the kid from Into the Wild and, stuff like that, where you're just on your own and you have to kind of depend on other people and maybe things go wrong.
I mean, we've always kind of had that free spirit, right? Whether it was kind of those that enjoyed the time of hitchhiking, which now we frown upon, given kind of some of the risk or the dangers of that. And even kind of what, we reported from some of these people that have done this so-called life. It's not exactly the easiest thing or the glamorous thing. And there are risks and certain challenges, especially, if you are a solo person. And there were definitely some more risk even added to that aspect of it. So it was interesting. I mean, I know I kind of was like, here we go again with another missing white person. But, kind of one of the things that I've noticed here is really what this case has really done is brought a lot of other missing persons cases to the limelight, so to speak. I know a lot of kind of news shows that kind of do a 30-minute, 60-minute, however long they've been doing it on this Gabby Petito case. They've also been dedicating time to other missing persons. And as a result, I've seen kind of other stories reported of them finding some of these people, although maybe not necessarily happy endings, but they've at least found these persons to give family the closure. So, I thought that was... if there's really no reason, again, this young person has lost her life, and in this, if we can find that silver lining right now, until we can find, maybe the person that is ultimately responsible for this, is the fact that it is shining light on those other persons. Because there are a lot of missing people in this country. And I noticed that too, right? Dog the Bounty Hunter is on it. The one thing that upset me about that was, right, that it did report that he is not necessarily sharing his information with the authorities.
No, he's not. And I know that Gabby's mother, she's like, if you love her, like, turn yourself in, which for me, it's like he would have, but I don't think, even if he did love her, he still had something to do with her death, or something happened to her and he neglected her. So I don't think he's going to turn himself in.
Well, didn't you see here now? It looks like maybe they have arrested, or at least are looking.
Oh, they're looking into his parents.
Into the parents. Yeah. Now I see that there was a story here where the sister is basically saying, "Turn yourself in."
She's so mad at him. She's so mad at her brother.
And it would, speculation is, right, that he's had help. Speculation would lead you to believe that maybe
he talked to her before he came home to his sister.
I mean, one or both parents probably maybe.
They're harboring a fugitive, and then they also may know some things. I mean, they're saying that they don't, but it's like they actually the mom had a camping trip booked for her and her husband, and then when Brian Laundrie came back, she made it for 3 people. So, and then he ended up just like leaving. So I don't even know if they went on the camping trip and then or he left before they were supposed to go on this camping trip when he came back. I think they were supposed to come back in September. That was when they were supposed to come back.
And if you probably think about it, although it's been longer since he's been reported, but he was missing long before he was reported missing, long before he became a fugitive. So he's been on the run for at least a good 30 days or more. And the one thing that I kind of keep in all these news shows is every time they interview like ex-law enforcement or some kind of, expert on this, is he's easily going to get caught. There's no way he should be. But I'm like, he's already made it 30 days. I think it may be time to start.
John Walsh is on the case. Now
you got John Walsh on the case here. I do think it is time to stop underestimating this guy.
They've already let police know from other countries, Canada, Mexico, like other countries. I'm surprised he didn't go from Florida to like Cuba or something, because like Cuba's so close.
Not as easy there.
But I guess you have to have jurisdiction. They don't have jurisdiction though.
Plus, you'd have to know, and then you understand.
You have to know someone who lives there.
You'd have to find the right country that doesn't have certain extradition type things.
They won't turn you in,
and then you have to even know how to go live there. And
if you're from Brazil, like they won't turn you in. I don't think
he had that planned out that far.
No, he's just lucky. He's just getting lucky. I'm sure he knows some people enough that he got out of Florida, but I think now he's on his own, like quite literally. I don't think he knows people from everywhere, but if he's an expert camper, he can live in wooded areas. He can live in areas that are away from towns and cities. I don't think he wants to be by CCTV.
If the reports are true that he is living in the Appalachian Mountains, a la one kind of, what was that, Eric Rudolph, right? The Olympic bomber.
Oh gosh, is that what he did?
That's what he went and lived up in part of North Carolina mountains in the Smokies, and he was up there for years. And they do believe he had assistance from maybe some of the people that did live up there. And, his story was the only way he got caught was he happened to come down out of the mountains in this, I can't remember if it was a local trooper or a state trooper, but he was rummaging through a garbage, and this trooper basically caught him, recognized who it was, and arrested him right there on the spot.
Oh, and then there was also a show that I remember watching where it was like, or it was a movie, but it was like they lived in the Oregon mountains, and it was this guy, I think he either killed her mother, and they were like on the run, or something happened to her mother, and they ended up just living in the forest together. And this girl, I think she was like maybe 10 or 11, and now she was like 16. And it was quite an interesting movie. I'm going to have to look back on my queue and see what it is, you guys, because I suggest you watch it. It's one of those movies where you don't quite know what's going on, and you just think that it's kind of like how The Village was, but like way better, because like obviously they're not living in a forest preserve, they're living in a park, like in a park, which Oregon is known to have very, very dense woods, dense forests, and it's actually really hard to be found unless they have sniffing dogs that will find you. So I know that Brian Laundrie's racked up so much money, like thousands of dollars, for them to even find him when he was supposedly in Florida in the marshlands. And now we think he's in the Appalachians. I don't really know much about the terrain there. I know it's really mountainous, and like, I don't know about the woods though. Is it very dense with the woods out there? I don't know. I just know it's really mountainous.
I would just say, yeah, right. I mean, it can't be easy terrain to maneuver.
No, especially if you have dogs. Maybe, I don't know. You probably have to have like hound dogs or something, because they can. But
yeah, search continues.
Yeah, so that was what our last audio was. So I will link that in the comments for you guys. And so today we have a few other things that we want to talk to you guys about. I'm going to let Matt go first this time, and he can tell you about his topics. I'm going to grab. Do you want me to grab you a drink?
That's okay. It's sitting right over there on the table.
I'm going to grab myself a drink.
Well, I thought maybe
I'm leaving you alone for 1 second.
One last thought on that was, I believe that the other Saturday was the season premiere of Saturday Night Live coming back. I think it was hosted by one Owen Wilson. But they made a Dog the Bounty Hunter joke regarding this case. And I just said, it hasn't been that long, since this person was and has been discovered deceased. And I just too soon to have a hit.
Cheers. We'll cheers first. I haven't watched Saturday Night Live in a while, and I know that they've had some their own drama with, Megan Fox.
But I thought it was too soon to have maybe that kind of joke. But moving on to what I had, sticking with the missing persons theme here, a podcast that I thoroughly enjoy is one Unsolved Mysteries.
He loves this. Yeah, he loves
podcast.
it.
Yeah, the Unsolved Mysteries,
Yep.
the same one on
They have
TV.
a podcast now, guys.
They have a podcast. It's
Yep.
really well done. And then this latest version, right? It was about a missing person that they are looking for, which it was about a series of events and a group of people that I had pretty much all put to the back of my mind and completely had forgotten about. I don't know how many people were aware, but there were a series of domestic terrorist attacks prior to 9/11 occurring.
Huh.
Starting in about the mid 90s and going all the way, pretty much going all the way right up to September 11th, 2001. And it consisted of blowing up basically a bunch of these kind of ranger sheds and offices being blown up, kind of logging businesses and offices and equipment being blown up.
Oh, geez.
And it was basically this group called the Earth Liberation Front, ELF or ELF. They kind of took a lot of credit for these. As a matter of fact, the story itself is specifically about a subgroup of this movement here. I mean, they were a loose-knit group. That's one way that they were able to operate. One way that really made them difficult bringing them down was they all used like these, again, fake names and secret names, and they stuck to it, and
they're extreme leftist groups, like
extreme leftists, right?
Leftists,
so
yeah.
I mean, they were all about destruction and carnage to be able to make political change, right?
Which is like
a terrorist group.
Extreme. Yeah, it's extreme. There's no other word for it.
I thought was kind of interesting, right? So mentioning that all this occurred before 9/11, well, they brought that up. As a matter of fact, one of the results of 9/11, right, was this idea that terrorists, nobody wanted to be associated with that word. And once the FBI and the other law enforcement started to associate the ELF front, that movement, with terrorism, a lot of them started to get cold feet. And it's like, no, that's not us. I don't want to be associated with that.
Yep.
So they stopped.
Even if their intent is to like do something good, they're still doing it in the most extreme and dangerous way possible. And it's really, I think it really takes away from like the whole goal of overturning political corruption. I mean, there's other ways to do it. And I know that it was a long time ago, right? In the 90s, you said?
Yeah, 90s,
before
early
9/11,
2000s.
yeah.
So, I mean, they did cause a lot of damage. I mean, they caused damage to a university campus because they were trying to blow up things that, did genetically modified organisms.
Did people die? Did they kill people?
So, interesting you bring that up. So, the group decided never to take credit for any of these events where somebody lost their life.
But but they organized it.
Well, now it was a loose group. So anytime one of these people basically blew one of these things up and said, I did it for ELF would kind of review it and go, yep, we did it. If somebody died, they never said a word. They never admitted to it. That was them.
It was hearsay.
Well, no, they never would take credit. Matter of fact, sometimes they would come out and say, no, that is not us that did that. Anytime that
do you think there were copycats, or do you think they were the only ones?
Probably, and people that were just idiots, and then
because that's what happens, right? There's like a snowball effect.
Snowball effect, right? So, long story short, pretty much out of this subgroup, they caught everybody. Mm-hmm. They basically found one of them years later and put the squeeze on him, and basically he spilled the beans and wore a wire, and basically got everybody except for one. And one of the members who wasn't even really a founding member or a pivotal leader, but she was a good trooper, as the story went on to say. So she is still on the run. Her name was Sunshine, or Josephine Sunshine O'Raker.
And she looks like someone normal too. She doesn't look like
right. I mean, that was kind of her
notice.
Ability to be able to just blend in if she's not exactly somebody who stands out.
She might be right behind you right now. And if you turned around, you believe me.
And I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know if I would probably necessarily, if I knew who that person was.
You would say anything?
Say anything now.
Well, no, because it still happened though. I mean, if she was a man, I'm sure it would be different. But I don't know. I don't think it. I think you should be. I think you need justice. She needs justice.
Well, that's it, right?
She still needs to be brought in.
That's just it, right? So speaking of justice, pretty much everybody that they have caught have all now served their time and are now out on lives. Yeah, they're all back out now.
And that's the thing, she could have done that.
Yeah, she could have done that.
And I think that she could have been an inspiration for someone who will do this in the future. We don't know. I mean, with the Capitol riots happening, I'm surprised there wasn't fires and bombs and stuff happening there because they were against the White House. Those people were against the White House. They were defending Donald Trump. So anyone else, including Pelosi, anyone that was in that White House that day, and I know you guys probably don't like politicians, but it was still human lives that were in that, and they were terrified, they were petrified. It was a terrorist act what they did. I'm surprised it didn't get that far. I'm surprised people didn't try to burn down
I mean,
the
right
place.
now that is what they've labeled those people as domestic terrorism. But here was
the big news was a big sign.
I mean, this group here, the ELF, is one of the first to ever be labeled, as far as a domestic group, to be labeled as a terrorist organization. So it's just kind of interesting here. And then, I'm not.
And there's none of them left except for this one woman.
Yeah,
that's
now
it.
There's just only one person left on the run, except for this one person.
What if she and Brian Laundrie end up like hanging out together?
They all go to that mystical, magical missing persons place.
They go to the missing persons place. It's like some island like on the Bermuda Triangle or something. That's where Brian should have gone, just the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, no, there with right, Hoffa and Elvis.
Yeah.
So what you got?
Let's see. Okay, so I have 2 topics. What you got? Oh, by the way, let's just quickly talk about what we're watching currently. What are we watching, Matthew, on Netflix?
We are enthralled with the Korean TV series on Netflix called Squid Game, right? That is probably popping up in a lot of memes and popping up on articles here recently, and it is one of the #1 watch shows on Netflix at this time, right?
Yeah, Squid Games is. What do you think about it? What's your thoughts?
So what a
Without
game that
anything.
Incorporates childhood games into honestly very brutal endings. I have seen a couple articles that have said that due to the English translation that we are losing some of it because we're not being able to capture all of it. So I don't know about that aspect, that what we're missing, because it's being translated in English for us. It is a very visual series, right? I mean,
it's amazing. It reminds me of Into the Badlands or Hunger Games.
I mean, it's a combination of all of those, whether it's the antagonist or the protagonist and kind of what they look like.
The complexities of each character.
Within 5 or 6 episodes now, you've already deep dived into some characters here and gotten pretty far into their character development and some of their story arc. So I don't know. I mean, I'd say we're in it here, right? We're in it. We're in it to see it all the way to the end.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, I'm excited to see the rest of it. I mean, I think they're probably gonna. I don't know if this is just gonna be a 1 season type thing where it's just like this cool like art house projects. It's very art house. I described what it was to Matthew. Art house is where they have like sometimes they just fixate, like the camera will fixate on a certain thing for an uncomfortably amount of time, or it's just like kind of more a lot of dream states in there, dream sequences, or just like very creative choreography and just very creative like bright colors or like sets. And that's kind of what Art House is. Very unusual like scripts, unusual writing. And the characters can be like really maniacal or evil, and sometimes there's a lot of abstract thought, abstract concepts in Art House. So I would say this is kind of in between art house, anything art house genre. And if you've seen Hunger Games, kind of like that, where it's a fight for survival, and Into the Badlands, where it's mostly Asian or, diverse characters. But this takes place in North Korea, and there's actually an island that's also in there as well, that as a location. So it's kind of cool to see. Like, I've always thought Korean culture was very out there and different and just very odd. If you've ever seen any commercials or like game shows or just like the clothing from Korean culture, like it's out there. It's out there. Even like their commercials are out there. I thought Japanese game shows were like out there, but it's just very out there. I think a lot of Asian art is very different. So I like that it's a fight for survival and that each character is very complex. And then there's like this beautiful drama, like, and like Matt and I kind of cried during certain scenes. And then there were some scenes where I was yelling at the TV, and there were scenes where we were just like this, like, oh my God,
Yeah,
it's just so fucked up.
It'll make you move. I mean, I think it made us move. So it's interesting. I like it. Yeah.
I like it a lot. And I like that we can watch a show together because there's a couple other shows that I want to watch with Matthew. I know he and I have our own shows, but it's nice to be able to watch a new show because I think we're just kind of waiting until Sweet Tooth comes back. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about was this would be maybe in our art and music. Actually, it's art, music, and life. Let's just say it's all across the board. Yeah, it's all across the board. And I did do a poll on Spotify for you guys who are our Spotify listeners. I did a poll as to what you guys wanted to listen to. It's on our Spotify account, The Night Owl Chicago on Spotify. I have a couple of topics on there as to what you guys want us to talk more about. Recently, like a month or so ago, I had noticed on our YouTube channel that you guys really enjoyed watching us talk about politics, LGBTQ, and society and relationships. Those are like the big topics that you guys wanted to talk about. So I brought you guys another LGBTQAI topic. It's going to be a local topic from our hometown, Chicago, and another topic for Matthew from our relationship pile, from our topic of our emails that I'm going to read to Matthew. And Matthew is going to answer because I know that you're listening. If you emailed us, you are listening to us. You're watching us. So this topic is about a place called Big Chicks. And Big Chicks, in my experience, when I went there, they called it like the gay soup kitchen. You know, it was like they'd have like $1 burger nights. And like it was a place where gay people of all walks of life could go and eat and feel comfortable and feel safe. And like, it was a very kitschy kind of like, an very artsy atmosphere. There was art everywhere. There's kitschy, like little trinkets everywhere. And then there's a giant bar and there's like tables and chairs and booths and you could just eat with your friends and you could eat and feel safe. Right. So what I didn't know, and I'm a terrible queer because I should have known the history of Big Chicks before it was a restaurant. Big Chicks is located in Lakeview. So it's right off of I think it's right off of the Bryn Mawr Red Line. And the Bryn Mawr Red Line. So it's really close if you live up north. And what it used to be was a gay club. So it used to be a gay club similar to what you would say Berlin is. Berlin, the nightclub, not Berlin, Germany. And yeah, before that it was a club. And then by the time I started going, it was a restaurant. So I've been watching this show called Work in Progress, which is filmed and has been filmed all the way through the pandemic last year, which I think was great. And this main character lives in Andersonville. Now, Big Chicks is not far from Andersonville. It's actually more towards Uptown. So there was a scene where they had actually gone to Big Chicks. And when I saw it, it was when this character was like, it was like a flashback episode and they were much younger. Like, I think they're probably a little older than Matthew. They're like 45. They're supposed to be 48. Okay. So when they were in their 20s, they went to Big Chicks. It was a lesbian club. So it was just lesbians. So I'm thinking, wait a second. I know that they're filming in Andersonville, but I didn't know Big Chicks was a club. So I'm going to read you this article by Bon Appetit about Big Chicks. So it says Big Chicks was an old man bar on the far north side of Chicago, across the street from an SRO. Then Michelle Pfeiffer made it into a place everyone went to drink, to dance, to hook up in the dark, and to feed cake to strangers on the dance floor. And by the way, the cake there, it's all homemade. All right. It's delicious. Okay. Their food's delicious. You guys should go. So it says this part of the series that celebrates America's favorite neighborhood restaurants. We asked 80 of the most interesting people we know to reveal local spots they love the most. It took a few years for Big Chicks to become Big Chicks. First, Michelle Pfeiffer had to tend to the old men. They were World War II veterans, transplants from Appalachia, retirees who lived in the SRO next door. Pfeiffer inherited them when she bought the bar in 1986. They'd been drinking there, tucked away in this dark watering hole in the uptown neighborhood of Chicago's far north side since 1944. Quote, there was a cane on every bar stool, Pfeiffer says. They're old men. Says she couldn't kick them out, or rather, she wouldn't. She served them drinks and slowly made renovations around them. Technically, these old guys were sitting in a gay bar now, but they didn't know or didn't care. They arrived at 7 a.m., drank all day, put their chihuahuas on the bar, and let them lap from whiskey glasses just like they always did.
Yeah, there you go.
Fire, who previously bartended at the late night gay bar called the Loading Dock. I don't know if we've heard of that, and I don't know if it's around anymore.
Yeah.
Comment if you've heard of the Loading Dock, you guys. And she'd never seen anything like it. On Sunday, she cooked. She'd grill chicken or make pasta. Good food, not junk food, she says. And hand out plates. No charge. She wanted to thank the old guys. Hell, the gay guys weren't exactly knocking down the door. And besides, they looked like they could use a meal. A lot of them lived alone, didn't cook. These guys were not well heeled, she said. It went on like this for years. 2.5 years of renovations to make the place presentable. 4 years, 5 years, until the sexy gay boys finally showed up. Hey! Okay. So was it a coincidence that things started to change the minute she put a piece of art on the walls? Eventually, Fire would turn Big Chicks into a gallery. So that's what I said, art everywhere, right? Covering every inch of the place with paintings and photographs, all of them depicting women, many of them by artists who had perhaps never been hung in a smoky old man's bar. Lee Friedlander, Diane Arbus, Lisette model. She started with a giant mural of 3 women, the Muses, in Fire speak, and hung it above the table near the front door. As soon as it appeared, there was a shift. A lot of the SRO guys weren't around anymore. Some of them had been banned for bad behavior. A lot of them had died. Mm-hmm. Whoops. For a moment, Don looked out the window. A bunch of queens were exiting a taxi, looking around, wondering why the hell they were in Uptown. They skittled into Big Chicks. Another cab followed. Same thing. Don called Fire over. I think we have a gay bar, he says. Imagine that. Imagine that scenario, that happening. Like,
We've made it.
We've made it, and it's a cold, snowy night. It's night out. There's no one around. Perfect. Yeah. I've been that boy leaning against the wall. Well, they didn't, and they did. Big Chicks never fit neatly into the gay bar mold. Maybe a bar run by a woman who self-identifies as being of indeterminate sexual proclivities. A bar named Big Chicks, for Christ's sake, never had a chance of being a typical big gay bar. Not that typical was the goal. Fire had a tagline for the place from the beginning. Men and women, women and women, and women and men. In other words, she welcomed everybody. And isn't that what we talk about when we talk about these LGBTQIA? Is inclusivity, right?
Well, that's good.
And that's what she got. The leather daddies, the truck driving lesbians, the gender queers, which is someone who gender bends, like a guy who's wearing women's clothes, but they're not gay or they're not trans. The femmes, Black, Latino, Polish, Japanese, they all showed up. I'll show you guys a picture. Let me see if it shows up on here.
No.
No?
No.
That's all right. We'll figure it out, guys. Okay. I'll share this link in there with you guys so you can see the pictures, because they are just, I mean, it looks like Berlin to me, you know?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. Just and I love that that's what I love about bars that have dancing or festivals or concerts. I mentioned in my Curator Kitty live stream the other day that was why I loved about going to festivals and bars and clubs, was that you see people of all different walks of life who like the same music as you, right? Or like the same food as you, or like the same movies as you. It's like, that's what America's all about, is having that diversity.
Experiences and sharing it with that like-minded and community. And that's a nice special feeling. Yeah, when you're all kind of there. Sharing.
Yeah, exactly.
Sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. Did you ever know the Girth and Mirth people? Fire asked me. I've never heard of them. Chubby Chaser, she says. They were Big Chicks too. They, like everyone, were there for fire. I'm more like a mother than I am a peer, a kind of sister-mother figure. I'm very non-judgmental. That's how I expected my clientele to be. That's how I expected my staff to be. And that's what I demanded of everybody. And once you set that tone, she trails off. But I spent 10 years of the aughts going to big chicks. I can feel that. I can fill in the rest. I've been that. This is the person writing the article. They said, I've been that boy leaning against the wall, lightheaded, cheap gin in my glass, cruising the trans boys, the black girls, the grizzly raising eyebrows at me from the bar, and bears. Sometimes it seems like it was only bears in the place. Muscle bears, chubby bears, ginger bears, otters. Oh my! But at big chicks, and only big chicks, a bear could not intimidate me. I sucked on a cigarette. This was back when I still smoked inside. This is back when people still smoked inside.
Huh? Jeez.
I exhaled on Diane Arbus I exhaled on a Diane Arbus photograph above me. I philosophize drunkenly that nobody gets to live with art like this. Nobody gets to flirt and make out and spill beer in a museum. I went back to cruising. I tried to look tough. I liked the place, like the floor. I owned the place, like the floor was mine. The floor wasn't mine. The floor was Fire's. Now I'm telling her how I used to feel those nights at Big Chicks, how I wanted to become part of the place, to be bolted to the wall like the photographs. Did she know what I meant? I felt calmer there, and maybe a little hopeful, like Chicago, a city that could be so backward, could be as good as I thought it was. When I was here, I felt like a citizen of the city and of the bar. Did that make sense? I'm having a hard time articulating myself. I can't find the words. Fire cuts me off. It's called safety, she says. Okay, I'm gonna add the article in here because it's a really long article, but it's amazing photos of the bar back in the day and now. And just like the evolution of, when it was a bar for the veterans, then it was a gallery, and then it was a gay bar, and now it's back to being a restaurant. So I'll include that article in there. But
check it out.
I wanted to read the first few paragraphs because this writer, let me see if I can find the writer because they're amazing. I mean, I love a good writer, right? I love a good article writer. So this is David Tamarkin. David Tamarkin. I'm hoping he still lives in Chicago. This was June 6, 2018. So this isn't a very old article. But David Tamarkin, if you are listening, we will tag you. We will send you some love. Send him some love. And I will put this article in there so you guys can read the rest of it. I just really wanted to find something that was like about a local business and
nice history and kind of fits right in, ties right in.
Ties it ties into what we stand for. I mean, Matthew and I stand for justice. We stand for equality. We stand for inclusivity.
Yeah,
and
that element of safety there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we've spoken on numerous times as to kind of one of our reasons why we love kind of where we go and why we like going is it has that. And it sounds like this is definitely one of those places.
Yeah. And I also like that, it does. Yeah. Like what Matthew said. And also, I think it's really hard for people to still get work right now. And people are still suffering. I mean, there was a couple places I saw driving around the other day that are just totally gone because of COVID. Like they're just not there. I know that there was supposed to be a place called Jackhammer that was supposed to come back right down the street from us. And they hadn't come back. I haven't seen them come back. Another gay bar, gay club. So I think we just need to be able to have more places like what Big Chicks used to be. I know Berlin does have inclusivity when it comes to women, men, straight, non-binary. It doesn't matter. Yeah. They're open with that too. But like, Matthew and I do love going to Queen. We do. And we're not going to shit all over Queen. But it is mostly gay men, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, that's that event there. I mean, yeah. But I think, and that's the kind of some of the uniqueness of a place like Smart Bar is given the kind of the artists and sometimes the nights that they have there. I mean, again, anybody is welcome.
But they do only have reserved one night for a gay club.
There are some nights that seem to slant one way or another.
Yeah.
And Queen is definitely one of those nights that does slant.
Yeah. Whereas if you have like the collectives that come in and play there, or collectives that that perform in other establishments or venues, it's all inclusive. There's it's not a gay event or a straight event or any. It's just like artists and people who are from all walks of life and sexualities and genders, and that's great. So I think that maybe Big Chicks can come back. I would love to see it if they maybe had one night reserved. They just moved all those tables and chairs and did hire me. I'll play for your nights. I'll do it. Curator Kitty, I'll do it. Let's do it. So I have one more thing for you, Matthew. This is actually geared towards you. They emailed me, but this was supposed to be for you because someone had listened to the last time when I said that you were in charge of the relationship advice, or at least,
Not Charles in charge, but charge of relationships. What?
Yeah.
All right. So what is it?
Let me see.
Is it?
Let me find it here. Hold on. Oh, I think, okay. My internet's all weird. Hold on a second, guys. Apparently I have my Ethernet on or something's going on. What is going on? Okay, that's why. I had my Ethernet on or something. Ay. Okay, so these people, oh gosh, it's like a love triangle situation. Oh my God. Okay. Hello, Megan. Hello, Matthew. This is for Matthew. If this gets on the podcast, please read it. I'd love to have your advice. Okay, so this is for you.
All right.
So it says, my friend's ex, who's 28, dumped her, who's 23, for me, and they're the same age. And it says she won't talk to me anymore because of him. So there's a little bit of a triangle going on, I guess. Which I've been in, but I feel like there's a code with me. Like, I'm not going to date someone else's ex or anything. I'm not going to do that.
Friends.
No. It says, my friend is jealous of me and she's upset and won't talk to me anymore. But I told her that he texted me. She said that he had a crush on me. He said he had a crush on me and has been in love with me before he got into a relationship with her.
So there's always the old adage or be warned.
But why did you go out with her then if he liked you?
Person that moves through a circle of friends.
Maybe he's trying to date her friend to get to her.
Again, be leery and weary of the person that moves.
The interloper?
From friend to friend to friend in a circle of friends. Yes.
I thought she should know that and I told her, and then she stopped texting me back and blocked my calls. Now, this is what you see in movies where someone's dating someone and then that person hits on them and they're like, hey, I wanted to your boyfriend or girlfriend hit on me. And they're like, you're just jealous, and it's like, no, I'm looking out for you. Your person is a douchebag. But they don't believe that, right? Okay. Lordy. Says they have a baby together, a little boy who's a few months old now, and I blocked her ex, but I've also lost my best friend. She doesn't want to talk to me anymore, and I didn't flirt with him, and I didn't have feelings for him. I also have a boyfriend, and he knows. So our boyfriend didn't know. Our boyfriend knows.
Big old relationship soup.
After dumping her, he texted me saying he's in love with me and wants me. When I'm in a relationship and my best friend is heartbroken and wants something to do with me. See, this person's boyfriend knows and he didn't dump her. So this person obviously is very good with communication, despite the fact that they're 23 years old. They're very good with communication, saying, hey, I want to let you know my best friend's boyfriend is hitting on me.
Some people may be more willing, more open, and better at communicating those things. And even when communicated, it still doesn't mean that the other person has to agree or gets along with it either.
So my friend's boyfriend, whom she had a child with, dumped her because he likes me and I'm in it. Okay, so that was, I just reread it. Okay, so the friend is 28. No, the boyfriend is 28, and she and her friend are both 23. So I'm not going to really, age aside, I'll just say what I want to say first, and then you can say what you want to say. But like, age aside, I think what she did was really responsible. Telling her friend, like, hey, this guy, you look out for him. He's hitting on me.
Huh?
Like, despite their age, like, you know, young, if you're 23, sometimes you're like, you deal.
That's not what that was said, right?
No, they just said that their ages. That's how old they are.
So
He's
the
28
story
and
is
they're 23.
She is now with the boyfriend who had a baby with her friend, who now doesn't speak to her anymore because she is now dating him because they just broke up because they've had a kid and it's only been 3 months.
She said that her friend's boyfriend,
and she had a boyfriend too.
This girl's boyfriend hit on her, and this boy and her friend and her friend's boyfriend have a baby together. Okay, this girl has her own boyfriend. The friend and the boyfriend have a baby together, and they broke up because of this whole thing. But she also dumped her friend, so this girl doesn't have a friend at all because of this. Like, her friend thinks that like maybe something happened with them, or she just thinks that, or she thinks she's being a shitty friend. So that's what they're saying. So what do you think? What do you think she should do? Because she said that her friend's blocking her and not talking to her anymore. But what I think she did was like really responsible. I think she said, "Hey, your boyfriend's hitting on me." It's just a sign that maybe he's cheating. Maybe he's doing this to other girls.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what it could be. So a serial
cheater.
Yeah. Or a serial flirter, which leads to other things. I don't know. I mean,
you could be a serial flirter, but it's still kind of weird, you know? Like, I guess if you flirt with your friends, like, I don't even know if they're that good of friends. Like, if I had friends, I have plenty of friends who I've seen date people, right? Have boyfriends, maybe like a series of boyfriends or girlfriends. But I've never been that close with that said boyfriend or girlfriend unless they were like, I've known them both at the same time or just as long. But I think what she did was responsible. I mean, she's not going to just, I don't think you should be treated like that. You shouldn't be hit on and
I agree.
Made to feel uncomfortable, and then you tell your friend. That's a hard thing to do, to tell your friend, like,
yeah, I mean, they can take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Maybe her friend blocked her because that's happened before. When she was embarrassed. Maybe she's embarrassed.
Always walking a righteous path, but don't follow in your own footsteps, kids.
But I'm saying that they put their ages down. So like 23. I mean, I met you when I was 23. I did a lot of stupid ass things. But like, you know, I feel like if one of my friends were telling me, "Hey, Matthew's hitting on us," I would have believed them. You know, just because I know them longer, and I'd be like, "Hey, like," but I guess it's hard. Like, if you have a kid with someone, we don't really know their history, and we don't know if this guy's done it before, or like he's like we just said, maybe it's a one-time thing.
Yeah, maybe.
But if you got a crush on somebody, you just gotta let it go, man.
Let that go.
Yeah, you gotta let it go. All right. Well, our producer's giving us the signal, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up for tonight. We wanted to tell you guys that we love you so much. Please look us up on YouTube, The Night Owl Chicago on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. And
anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcast.
Listen to him. Listen to him.
Listen to her.
Listen to me. So we will try to do another live stream next week. Sorry, guys, that we can't do it Friday, but this is our 1 week video that we're doing. And then we're going to have some guests on Labor Day. Not Labor Day. Is it Labor Day?
It's past Labor Day.
No, what's the next? I
don't know.
Okay, well, we're going to have someone on the 5th and the 25th. We have 2 singers that are guests that we're going to have back to back. So we will still do our live streams with the interviews with our guests. We're not doing a live stream with them, but we will be posting the videos of the interviews for you guys. And I will do increments of like 3 or 4, so that way they're like, you know, not too long for you guys. So we want to tell you that, guys, that we love you and we want you to stay safe, get a job, and wear a goddamn mask. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching The Night Owl.